Pulling into this church's main drive, you see the signs quickly. Something's different here.
Okay, cool. So we'll just walk this way a little bit and you just tell me, like, basically, obviously we're staying back.
We were asked to film what makes this place different from the tree line.
We recognize now more than we did when this began that these are folks who really aren't afforded any privacy in their lives.
Privacy that a Corvallis church with a wooded property is bent on giving them.
When Jesus shows up on your front door, you take care of Jesus.
This past summer, Jesus showed up at the First Congregational United Church of Christ in the form of nearly 24 homeless people. They'd been camping illegally on the private wooded property next door, and for years, deputies had issued trespassing citations. Suddenly, that routine hit closer to home.
One Sunday morning, we were getting ready for worship, and a gentleman walked into the church and asked if I knew that someone had been arrested for trespassing on our front porch the night before.
Authorities haven't confirmed that specific citation. Reverend Jen Butler says she asked deputies not to do it again, and word spread fast.
Within 24 hours of having taped off our property line for law enforcement, we had 23 people seeking a safe sleeping space on our property.
Butler says congregates were overwhelmed but resolved. They dubbed it Safe Camp.
So it was clear to them right from the beginning that there was no question about our obligation.
But there were questions from others. First, with the legality of the camp.
It's kind of complicated.
And here's why. The church's property, at just over an acre, sits on both city and county land. The building is in the city of Corvallis, the woods and camp in Benton County. Zoning-wise, this left officials scratching their heads.
And one potential way for the church to get approval for this is to obtain conditional use approval to establish church activities on the vacant parcel that's in the county zoning.
It's also created a headache for law enforcement trying to police a camp on county property run by a church with a city address.
I'd say cyclic is probably the best way to describe it.
The undersheriff telling me via phone.
So you try to negotiate the different jurisdictions, the different issues, and going there it's a mess sometimes.
A mess with seemingly no remedy until this summer, when lawmakers delivered a logistical saving grace.
House Bill 2916, passed by the 2019 legislature, modified the state statute that already allowed some form of transitional housing. It greatly expanded the potential for local jurisdictions to enact such housing authorizations.
In other words, the bill now gives city and county governments in Oregon the power to authorize homeless camps within urban growth boundaries, dubbing tents, tarps, or even yurts transitional housing for the homeless. It gives people here a clear path forward, making the county's job easier.
There's been a path of discovery.
Giving the church hope.
It has provided us this opportunity to explore solutions.
But really ticking off this guy.
They have turned an absolute deaf ear to the neighborhood.
Dan Armstrong is a lawyer who lives about a block from Safe Camp. He says he and his neighbors feel steamrolled by a bunch of churchgoers who are
all in favor of putting the thing across the street from me in my front yard and then telling me that I shouldn't complain about it.
What's more, he says the whole reason the undersheriff is calling this
It's a mess sometimes.
is because the camp was chaotic from the start.
Well, all of a sudden, there was the tents and the tarps and the porta potty and the dumpster and yelling and the fires and the smoke and the you name it.
Undersheriff Greg Ridley estimated deputies responded to the camp 10 times last month, adding it's quieted down recently and the church has always been communicative. Armstrong, though, isn't pleased, and he was blunt.
If it stays there, we're going to have to bring a lawsuit.
For now, a total of 14 people feel safe in Safe Camp. We were invited into the communal kitchen to meet one. Jerry Brown is on parole after failing to pay child support in his home state of Kentucky. He says he can't work thanks to bad knees, a bad hip, and other injuries. The 51-year-old lives off of disability and for a long time camped in those woods next door.
This is legal. We can be here. You know, we at least had a chance to survive. Over there, they're just going to run us to take our stuff. How good's that?
He hopes all the concerns plaguing Safe Camp and the church running it can be resolved. So does Reverend Butler, who notes 7 of the original 20-plus campers have already transitioned into permanent housing. She credits the stability this place provides and says the church isn't backing down.
The forest has always housed people. The difference is now they're seen. And when you bring something into the light, it can either create more fear or alleviate fears. And I think both of those things have been true.